All right, so welcome to My Prostate is Trying to Kill Me. This is going to be volume number 50. We made it to 50. Woohoo! I didn't think I'd make it that far, but there we are. I'm Mark Graves, just a regular guy fighting prostate cancer. Glad to have you along for the ride. And I know I've been promising this. I know I kept saying it was going to happen. You guys were like, yeah, sure, okay. We'll believe it when we see it. Well, it's going to happen today. So this is my opportunity to introduce you to a really good friend. I mean, it's hard to describe how fast we became friends and how weird life is to bring people together. But this is Tom, and we met at, we call it summer camp for Hoag radiation, and we're both gone through prostate radiation. And so I'm going to have Tom introduce himself and tell you a bit about. So Tom, take it away.
Hi all. Well, I guess how far do you want me to go back? I mean, I grew up all the way around the United States. Dad was a mechanical engineer, so we moved around doing buildings and stuff. I remember when the Sears Tower was just a big pit in the ground. He took me by there, and then we moved to Hawaii, and he did the Huntington Sheraton that flanks the Royal Hawaiian. Learned to play the ukulele there a little bit, and moved to California in early 70s, 71, and down to the beach in 79. And out of high school, I went up to Alaska and did my whole career of commercial fishing up there, 35 years. And still doing it, but I took a couple years off to deal with my prostate cancer and stuff. And that's where I met Mark, and we became buddies. And how I found out about my prostate cancer is they had this annual car show called Cruise for the Cure for prostate cancer. And I had never been tested whatsoever by anything. I've never had health insurance until, I don't know, 45 or something like that. And I go in there, I've been going for years, and they have this free screening. And so one of the pretty nurses pulled me in there and with my buddies, and we got tested for a PSA. And I had some issues on the boat, rolling around, a little aggravation the last 2 years before my surgery, which was 2 years ago, so 4 years ago. So I was curious, and I did the PSA, and the nurse said, well, if you really want to know, do the DRE, digital rectal exam. So I did that, and right away, Dr. Mosley in Irvine of KSK Cancer Institute, I think it is. He said, I feel a nodule, and he was adamant. He was, go see Dr. Yoshida or Dr. Tori. And I said, okay. And so you need to call these guys. And he's following me out, because he probably knew right away.
Yeah.
And so I get home, and 2 days later, he's calling me. He's still calling me. He's like, have you checked? Have you got the appointment yet? Call him right now. Call him right now and call me back. So I called him, and then for some reason, my insurance wouldn't cover me for Dr. Tori. And so then I spent 2 months researching all these urologists and reading these horror stories. And so finally found one in Newport, forget his name. And I had been scheduled for going to see him the next week. And I'm in Lowe's getting some construction stuff. And Dr. Tori's office calls me. She's all, are you going to be here for your appointment? I'm all, huh? What do you mean? I mean, you guys said I didn't, qualify for your insurance. She said, oh no, you're good. So I called the other guy back. After reading the reviews on Dr. Tori, I wanted to see this guy. So I canceled my appointment, got to see Dr. Tori, and then bingo, did the biopsy, and I think my PSA was like 58, and had a Gleason score of like 8.5, and he's you're high risk, and that started the whole journey last 2 years. And I did the surgery, and
Now, when you say you did the surgery, you actually had your prostate removed then?
Yes, yes, because it was fully engulfed and it was starting to spread out into the cilies, the little sacs that hold the sperm, uh, and it was starting to spread out there. And so we had to remove it. And yeah, I mean, we went to surgery, and about a year, I think it's a year after surgery, I finally got into radiation, and where we met.
Yeah.
Pretty much up to date.
And with the removal, we would have kind of assumed that that would have been it. I mean, as long as they get rid of your prostate, but then down the road, you were still getting checked, right? They were still checking your PSA.
Yeah, after the surgery, they do what it was a 6 week PSA, and after surgery, um, I came off the Lupron. I did the whole year of Lupron, like 9 months or maybe even more, to shrink the tumor. Because if he didn't, he shrinks the tumor so he's able to get it out. Otherwise, he said it was just like going in there to a jar of peanut butter. It's just, it would just smear it all around and it wasn't contained. So he had to go into Lupron to shrink the prostate, which kills, Lupron kills your testosterone level, which kills the cell growth, which drives the cancer cells. So it's the opposite of steroids, you get them to grow, Lupron does the opposite. And yeah, they went in there and where was I?
On getting it removed.
So we got it removed, and 6 weeks after the removal, they did a PSA, and it was 0.37. It was low. But I looked at his face, Dr. Torrey, and he didn't like it. I'm all, is that good? He's all, yeah, but he wanted it undetectable. And he's all, okay, let's do another draw, PSA, in another 6 weeks. And it shot up to 1.9. And he's all, okay, well, that tells me right away it's outside the prostate area and it's into the surrounding tissues. So then I had to do all these other another MRI, another bone scan. They did this really, really cool brand new scan called a PET scan, an Exium PET scan. And it's kind of just like a bone scan or something, but they shoot you with this stuff and it's only in your system for 15 minutes. So they got to do it real quick. And they put you in the scanner and it lights up any cancer cells like a neon sign. And boom, boom. And mine came back and I had 2 lymph nodes that were cancerous and a little bit on the prostate bed on the left side. Now, Dr. Torrey had removed 8 lymph nodes and only 1 came back positive, but it had a really low Gleason score, but still that told him, I guess, that it was, into the lymphatic system, which you don't want because it's like a freeway. And then that's where it metastasizes and travels through the body. But hopefully we got it and killed it and burned it up. And so now I guess we're both on like a waiting game to discover how successful the radiation was.
Yeah. Now you, when you first, how do I word this right? Before you went in for surgery, they gave you the Lupron to help shrink it down, right? So that they could do the surgery on it. Then
after the biopsy, yeah.
Yeah, after the biopsy and after the surgery, did they keep you on the Lupron even after the surgery?
Well, no, they didn't inject me. I think it was my surgery was 2 years ago. Geez, a week from now, because it was after the car show. The car show is this weekend.
Yeah,
tomorrow, and I was on the Lupron up until then, and then I came off of it. No, I came off of it. I wasn't on, well, I was on the other end of the shot. Each shot's 3 months. So I had one, I actually had 3. The beginning, and then the middle, and towards the end, that's when the surgery was scheduled to really, I guess he really wanted to shrink it. And then he didn't put me back on the Lupron until he got those 2 positive results to see if the PSA would climb without the Lupron, because the Lupron it drives down the PSA because it stops the testosterone. So he let it go. We let it go for, it must maybe 2 months or 3 months. And that's another story I'd like to tell you about the hormone mind game that the hormones do. You don't really feel the change when your testosterone levels are high and you go on the hormones. You really don't feel the gradual effects of, like, not being interested in sex or stuff like that. You don't have that drive. But the other way, oh my God. And it's short. It spikes up like crazy. And you're like a raging elephant ripping down trees trying to get at the herd,
That's what I've got to look forward to when they take me off the Lupron. Huh?
Oh man, that aspect really stuck in my mind because it was huge for me. It was like that your sexual desire just skyrocketed.
Yeah. Well, speaking from experience, being on the Lupron, since they use that for chemical castration for child molesters, I mean, it does work, man. It kills everything.
Yeah.
It's gone. And I try to explain it to my buddies, and they're just like, really? I go, it's just not there. That's how it works. The testosterone's gone, the drive is gone, all that kind of stuff. So that's interesting, because I didn't know that it was such a fast recovery after getting off of the hormones. And I'm on 2. I'm on the Lupron and I'm on the Xtandi. And that Xtandi just completely multiplied everything that was already happening to me from the Lupron. So you had just the Lupron?
Yeah, just the Lupron, yeah. I went and saw a blood doctor, Dr. Engström, to see if I needed additional medications, and he said no. Okay,
good. Because I'm wondering, and this kind of jumps around a little bit, but during your radiation, you didn't seem to get fatigued as bad as I did.
No.
I got my ass kicked, and I was so jealous because you were just happy every morning, and you're telling me, I'm doing the yard and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, what the hell? So maybe that's why I got my ass kicked, because I was already on 2 hormone treatments, and then add the radiation to that. That might be why it nailed me so bad.
Yeah, I definitely felt fatigued and tired. Like I'd mow the lawn, that'd be it for me.
Yeah.
And then a lot of it was just, no sleep, because they up all night with diarrhea and the hemorrhoids, and God, it was miserable.
Yeah, it is pretty. And for everybody that's watching this, you had your little routine going 4 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have your water there to drink, and you'd have your Gas X tablets to take, to get yourself ready for the scan or for the radiation the next morning.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. It's not just like showing up, hi, take the picture. There's a lot involved in it.
Yeah, it's like a job. I mean, you got to do it. The alternative is to not doing your gas medicine and being prepared for your radiation is the nurses will kindly remove your gas for you via catheter up the hoo-hoo.
I couldn't believe it when you told me that. I'm like, knock on wood, I didn't have to do that. Thank you so much.
Twice that happened to me. After the second time, okay, I'm getting really serious, and I cut out every bit of fiber in my diet and started my little routine, and then I could manage it.
Yeah, but that was crazy, man, when you told me that, because and as much as I did have happen to me, I was just glad to say that I never had anybody put a stick up my butt. Bunch of radiation, and it was funny because the hardest thing I had to get used to was having these 2 nurses move me like a piece of meat.
Mm-hmm.
They kept saying, no, relax, don't help us. We need to move you exactly into target, to get your tattoos lined up with the machine. And man, that was tough for me. It was just like, okay, I just got to lay here. And then when I first started out, I used the ring, the red dog biscuit or whatever it is, to hold that. And then I was okay. After that, I got more comfortable. I could just, cross my fingers. But then they would say, okay, get comfortable. and then they start moving me around, and they're grabbing your right ass cheek and moving it up a little bit to try and but nobody ever stuck a stick up my butt.
After that, these past 2 years, I've had more people violate me than I care to mention,
Oh yeah. When I first got started, I'd say the first month between my primary care physician, my urologist, my oncologist, radiation oncologist, I was getting pretty violated, and we've talked about too that, and I won't name which one's which, but a couple of my doctors do I call it the newer way, where you lay on your side, you're in the fetal position, and they check you that way. And then one of my doctors, who is a doctor that you and I share, he's more like grab the table and bend over. Yeah, there's no fetal position in this one, man. It's just, and he's a great doctor. I really like him. He's got a great bedside manner, but he is older, so he's got that old school thing,
Yeah.
But it is weird because never in my life did I think I would be comparing how the difference between how guys are going to put their fingers in my butt.
Yeah. So you didn't have any surgery or anything, so you never had to learn how to do any Kegels, right?
I did not. I know how to do them, and I've talked to quite a few guys on Facebook about doing that. But is that you had a whole extraordinary surgery done to replace your urethra?
Yeah, they cut out the prostate, and then they have to reconnect. He must have left some 2 little stubs so he could connect it, or he cut it off and there was enough to stretch it up and reconnect it to the bladder. I don't know exactly, but then I had to have a catheter for 8 days, and they used the catheter as a cast. Mm-hmm. Instead of the outside, it's an inside cast to keep it open, and then they stitched around there, and they took it out 8 days later.
So you're able to evacuate then using your penis?
Yeah. I'm pretty much normal. And after surgery, and they reattached that, you have 2 sphincters. Guys have 2, women have 3, obviously. And they teach you how to do these Kegels to strengthen the urethra sphincter. So you're able to hold back your pee. And after surgery, it's called incontinence, they say. Mm-hmm. You leak a little, and then you have to wear diapers, and you do your Kegels and get them stronger. And I got rid of those pretty quick. And a year after surgery, which is today, it's not an issue, only if have a really full bladder and I have to go to the bathroom. That I will leak just a little.
Yeah, which is very good, because a lot of these guys that I talk to on Facebook and guys that make comments here on YouTube, years that they're still going through that issue, and it's if they lift something, a little bit of pressure, or if they sneeze, so I have no idea what I've got to look forward to. I don't know what they're going to be able to do. I am going to go see your guy, Tori, once we're done killing the cancer, and see if there's some way that he can reconstruct something for me.
Yeah.
Or maybe go around. I mean, if they can't take the tumor out, maybe he can build something to go around it, and then I'd be able to get rid of the tube sticking out of my belly.
Yeah, I don't see why they couldn't do, you're saying it's too big to remove. Is it stuck to everything else in the prostate bed? I don't know.
Yeah, it's because you know how the bladder lays on top of it, and then it pushes up against the rectum and everything. Well, it had actually, and they weren't positive how far it had gone into the rectum. So they did the MRI with contrast, and I'm trying to think of the 2 terms they used. Invaded was one, and then, the other one meant that it actually went into. So invaded means it's pushing on the outside of the rectum and pushing on the bladder. And the other term, which I'd have to find it in my book somewhere, meant that it had actually passed the wall. So the tumor had actually gone into the rectum
Mm.
and gone into the bladder. And so I could tell just by the shape, you know, when I take a dump, it was more like instead of being round and healthy looking, it was more like the Play-Doh Fun Factory. When you push down on it, it goes through the squish down, you know, so
Yeah.
you could actually see where the tumor was pushing on it.
Uh-huh.
So it would have a groove in it, and the whole entire thing was flat. And I apologize, guys. I don't want to go too much information, but you know, that was because of where it was sitting. So
Yeah.
they weren't comfortable going in there and trying to take that out because, number one, they said the chances were real good I'd come out of it with a colostomy bag. And since I already have the tube, I was kind of like, man, I don't want to have that bag. And so hopefully, once we're all done and we get it all killed, then I'll go see Dr. Torrey and find out if he's got any magic that can work, you know, to get around it. So
Yeah.
see, I mean, if I had to live the rest of my life with the catheter, I could do it. I just have to get it changed every 30 days. Not a lot of fun, but there are people who have lived with it for, you know, 20 years.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, who am I to say, oh, I don't want to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, hopefully they can reconstruct some area, or maybe just cut some of the tumor away and reconstruct a urethra so you'll be able to get rid of that.
Maybe, because it might, now that, because we've already talked about my prostate being gone, you know, it was just the tumor because it had eaten the whole thing. So maybe once it's dead and the tumor is just sitting there, like you say, maybe they can, you know, cut some of that away. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. I'm just looking at the time. Let's go ahead and cut it off here, and then we'll, what is it, Friday, Monday? We'll go ahead and do another section and get that posted up too. So to everybody who thought Tom didn't exist, there he is. He actually does exist. And on Monday, let's talk a little more about the car show too, because obviously they're not having it this year.
Yeah.
Because of the whole, you know, Wuhan flu type thing. But I am so jazzed that, you know, and they have to be too, that that's the whole purpose of that car show. I mean, you know, go have a good time, have something to eat, check out all the cool rods and everything that goes through there. But it is for prostate awareness, you know, and here's somebody who's still alive, you know, because you got checked over there.
Yeah. Just out of the woods, you know.
Yeah. And just let everybody know too, you know, next year if the car show's up, the digital reticle exam is not done at the car show. Well, I don't think it's done at the car show. There might be a special trailer for that. I'm not sure, but they do the PSA, and then that's your first indication. Now, for me, it was the other way around because my PCP checked he did the DRE on me. He's like, that doesn't feel right. So he knew that it was enlarged, and then every year when I would go back for my annual checkup, he would check it again, and it had just been enlarged. There was nothing going on. Then in last year, January, went in to get checked, or March when I went in to get checked. Not only had it grown again, but now it was all bumpy and everything, and didn't feel right. So God bless him. He used the word nefarious. So that's his term for you have cancer, but I can't tell you have cancer. You know, and so he did like your guy. You know, you need to go see your urologist.
Yeah.
Did you go see Dr. Bowie yet? You know, yes, I'm waiting to see him. So that's got to be a weird feeling for those guys because they can't tell you. You know, I mean, they know from touching it and feeling it that dude's got cancer, but they can't tell you you have cancer. So at least they take their job seriously and keep bugging you and say, look, you know, you got it. You really need to go talk to your doctor.
Yeah.
So God bless these people. All right. Have an awesome weekend. And then we'll go ahead and pick it back up again on Monday and get this one posted. I'll be putting this one up this afternoon. So I appreciate your time, and we will talk soon.
Okay, buddy. We'll see you soon.